CFG Game Cast, episode number 170, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers who like to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode on Sundays, and we release it on all podcast services like Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, and so much more. So show us some love. Give us a follow, a like, a comment, what have you on any podcast services out there, or go to our main website, confreaksgeeks.com, to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG Games, Davis Green, and with me today are my two awesome co-hosts. I got Lex in the second seat. What is going on, my cyborg?
Oh, you know, cyborg things. Played Demonologist all week. Can't get enough of it. Loved it. Also started a new game called Gibbous. Very interesting. It's a click game, a point and click. It's kind of like how Wishbone was back in the day. Very, very infuriating. So I'm trying to like, make my way through that. It's good, but someone was like, "Is this an infuriation sim?" I'm like, basically. It's good. It's very cute. It's adorable. I love it. Got to, like I said, play Demonologist all week, and they did a new update, which was really fun. Got to test that out with Love Me. She's like, "Are you available?" I was like, "Girl, I'm available." And so we hopped in. Opie runs from the room. She hates the game. She tells on me to Adam that I'm playing it and that it is unacceptable. And I got to babysit the kiddos this week. Not once, but twice. It was delightful. So, 1 a.m. last night, what was I doing? Sword fighting with baby because she wouldn't fall asleep.
That's only natural.
She put her head on my lap, and I was like, "Okay, close your eyes." And I tried to sing her Twinkle Twinkle, but I'm losing my voice. So that was probably terrifying. And I was like, "You have to close your eyes." She goes, "Oh, okay." And after a few minutes, I go, "Are you sleeping?" She didn't answer. I said, "Are you pretending to sleep?" She goes, "Yes." Shh. Okay. But I think I got her to sleep for like maybe 30 minutes. And
I swear, she literally works like she goes on the beat of her own drum. I swear.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah, Smitty's daughter is a force to be reckoned with. I promise you that. My goodness.
Oh, is it?
Gibbous.
I said that wrong. Maybe Gibbous. Yes.
Is it Gibbous or Gibbous?
It starts with a G, so it's probably Gibbous. I probably said it wrong.
The Gibbous where you find the GIFs. That's probably perfect. Hey, Lex.
Yes.
Do you know who is the best floor tank in Valorant?
I do not. His name is
the 5-star general of the itty bitty Smitty committee. I got Smitty in the third seat. What is going on, my dude?
Yo, it has been an absolutely busy week, but it's been fantastic week. We were at the JB&A pre-NAB show this weekend, Las Vegas Inferno. Folks from that, huh?
I've been wondering for the longest time, because when you're posting that, what does JB&A stand for?
It is, I can't remember. It is an acronym. It's something, they have an actual company name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think JB&A is like just the abbreviation for it. I'd have to double check, but I mean, it was great working with them. The technology. So I got to interview with I think he was like he was their director or something. And he did an interview with us, and we got into talking about NDI, and I didn't realize the whole production they were running it off of NDI.
Oh, for real?
And I was like, I didn't even know. So like basically, wireless production. I mean, there were things and stuff like that, but it's a wireless production workflow, essentially, is what they were showing off. So we were playing games. I was getting absolutely wrecked in Valorant. It was probably one of the most embarrassing gaming moments, even ahead of the little kids beating me in Mario Kart. They put up our stats from the first game, and I was like 1-14. I said, "Hey, put that down. Get that out of here."
I'm not going to lie to you. I am not going to lie to you, but when I first saw that you were streaming randomly on this, I was looking at it, and then you were just saying, "I wonder how to pick up a gun." You just turn to your right, you just get headshotted, and I'm like, this is what we're going to see the rest of the match.
I should have told you everything you need to know.
And then you're like, "Okay, let's play for real. Let's go seriously." You lasted a little longer the second time, I will admit, but it was still the same outcome. It was like, man, I never watched Valorant play before, but I know of it.
That ain't it.
I had no idea what was going on, but that would like what you were experiencing would infuriate me.
It was brutal, and I knew I was gonna have to do it for like 7 hours.
7 hours of that.
We had breaks and stuff like that, and we were switching out with Reyna, but it was Seth FPS, King Lucifer, myself, Glyphix went on a little bit, Fight went on, and then Reyna, OMG Reyna, who went on, she's a competitive eater. Dude, you got to check her out.
Competitive
it's
eater?
Crazy. Yes, what she could put down. Like that's what like a lot of her content is, but she's also a League of Legends player as well. So she came out and came into town. So it was awesome getting to meet her. Overall, it was a great experience. NAB starts today. It is the 100th anniversary of NAB. So anybody that's into technology, streaming, insane. That kind of stuff, Las Vegas is the place that you want to be. There's going to be so much information that'll be disseminated over this next week. It's going to be crazy. So yeah, we're geared up for a busy weekend, dude. A busy week.
Has the convention always been in Vegas for, or is it just like been moving? Has it moved around throughout that 100 years? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I want to say that it's always been in Vegas, but I couldn't back that up.
I can't even. I just can't even imagine having a convention that's been around for 100 years. That's
it's
insane.
Crazy to think about. Yeah, but I mean it's literally it went from when I first started. I started going in 2007, and it was very geared toward traditional broadcast media, that kind of stuff. And then you slowly, as the years went on, you started seeing more streaming things and them pushing like cloud stuff and just the technology. And like, that's primarily what it's going to be. You can still find your traditional broadcast stuff, but a lot of this stuff is geared towards digital media, streaming, things of that nature. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to have a ton of content out this week, just going over stuff.
That's awesome.
For NAB.
I still can't believe it's been 100 years. Again, the tin cans with a string is like all I think about 100 years ago. That's what they had. Not sponsored by Campbell's.
It's sponsored by Campbell's. It has to be. But then again, though, to be fair, wait, was that during the Great Depression? No, wait, when did the Great Depression start? 29? It was 29.
Yeah,
I think it was 29. Okay, so never mind. They were in the heydays. They were the Charleston days. So there we go.
But yeah, how was your week, man?
Mine was good. It was a good week. I'm persevering through. It's actually kind of funny. So I was persevering through. I've been back to streaming on at least 3-day schedule, which is good.
Nice.
So been able to do that. I've been focused on trying, because my goal is I'm going to finish Final Fantasy 13. It's going to happen. I'm going to finish it, because this game, and for me, if y'all don't know me, I hate Final Fantasy 13. It's probably one of the worst Final Fantasies, because it just gets me so triggered. And I got to a point, I got on a soapbox in one of the streams at the end of the streams, because I was getting so agitated of it, and someone did a clip of me getting kind of triggered about it. I didn't even know about it, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is hilarious." And I was like, "Oh, this is funny." It was like, but it's funny. It wasn't like, me just acting a fool or anything, but it was really funny. Yeah. So people like me going and being tormented by this stupid game. So but I've been having a fun time with that. I'm also trying to get stuff going. Hopefully, we're going to be getting some merch here soon. I've been working on that as well in the background and stuff. And then I'm also thinking about switching around some stuff to kind of break the system that the normal system that Twitch and stuff normally works here for us. So, but yeah, it was a good week. It was definitely a good week when it comes to gaming. I'm just can't wait till 16, man. 16 looks amazing, and I think in the sooner future, Star Wars comes out in 2 weeks. So I think so I'm going to be on top of that too. So
so does Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Oh, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after that one. That's actually pretty interesting. Ooh. Yeah. So that the Lord of the Rings Gollum. Yeah, so it's pretty fun. But anyways, wait, what did Day Night say here? Not gonna lie, I was watching Smitty playing as well. Like what WTF? He's on Valorant getting murdered. Like, oh, I see how it's gonna go.
For 7 hours.
Okay,
here's brutal, dude.
here's the deal of Smitty's play of Valorant. Smitty's face was a magnet to bullets in that game. I mean, that's just the best way to describe it.
Oh man,
That's the best way. It was hilarious. I didn't know headshots was that important in Valorant until I saw Smitty getting one-shotted in so many different ways. And I'm like, man, Smitty must be like freaking like chopped
Internally,
liver.
I was dying.
I was like, oh my God. Like, can you know what, maybe because the skill level where you were playing, you were at you decided to turn on the game for the first time. You were on expert level, and everyone else was like, you know, competitive level, and then you don't know what your left and right buttons are.
Oh, here I am. Yeah, I'm basically what's the chicken in Moana? Hey. I'm basically hey. I have no idea what's going on.
It was hilarious. It was just a free kill essentially well, I will admit he did get a little
terrible.
He did get a little better. He did get a little better than what he was before, but it was still pretty.
I was getting some coaching tips though, and I was decent in the team death matches. It was dude, I do not like search and destroy type games for that reason. I'm not. It's like if someone could do a montage of him getting headshot of all the times he got headshot,
can I get on it
with the song with the song "Hero" on the back? It's like I will pay money. You hear it first. I will pay money. Well, we don't want to talk about the amazing crazy shots that Smitty was getting or got inside of Valorant. So let's go through the normal rigmaroles that we like to do each and every week. So each of us chooses a topic of discussion from the previous week. The topic would or could be a game itself or something that happened in the gaming industry. We don't want to talk about it amongst ourselves. We want you, the viewers, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Kick. That list is growing, you know, to be a part of the conversation. So by all means, just type it inside the chat. And we would love to hear your opinions on what we are talking about as well. So let's get into it. We're going to go with my topic first, and I want to talk about Final Fantasy 16. So here's the deal. I love Final Fantasies. Final Fantasy is something that I can tie myself to since I was a kid. You know what's funny? You know who got me into Final Fantasy? My mom got me into Final Fantasy.
Oh, that's cute.
So
on accident?
Yeah, on accident. Because like the rules when I was younger, when I was a kid, was that we never picked the games. Right. She was like, because she didn't want us to play fighting, like, you know, games that didn't, like, you know, stimulate the mind or anything or stuff. She wanted story-driven games. So she's the one that goes to the store. She didn't know what the hell she was picking, but sometimes she picked bangers. Sometimes she picked like crappy ones. Like there could be one time I'll be picking like, oh wow, you let us rent Chrono Trigger. And then they come back, and then she comes back and it comes and says, hey, I just gave you Mario's Missing on the Super Nintendo, and it was terrible. So, but it's all good. So, but Final Fantasy 16. So the state of play happened on Thursday earlier last week, and it was a dedicated state of play entirely for Final Fantasy 16. We already kind of knew that 16 was going to be good. There was also some rumblings about like previews of people preview playing some of the game already, but this was like this state of play was like 20 something minutes long, and it showed a little bit more of what you would to expect in the world of Final Fantasy 16. And I have to say, like, I mean, besides the music, we should like the music was already banging. I already knew that they were showing, but no one knew kind of like what the how the battle system was going to work, how like what to expect and stuff. But the creator of 16, or the director of 16, which is Yoshi P, the guy who's been doing Final Fantasy 14 for the past several years, or basically resurrected 14, was on hands on this one, and he, from what I've seen on this game, and I don't know if this is going to go a long way, but I am internally, I'm very hyped up on this game. and you don't know, like, and if you don't know me, I don't get hyped up for a lot of things at all. So like I don't usually put games on pedestals, but I feel like this game is something that could essentially be like a reckoning of what Final Fantasy VII was. Not to the same level, because but I will say, but the game itself feels like a more hyped, like a version of Witcher, that has more stuff inside of it, that I think that would make more people in tuned to wanting to try to play this game, because the game looks beautiful, runs it runs at full 60 frames per second, which is crazy to me that they're going to go with 60 frames on what's going on. I don't know if it's going to run 4K. If it runs 4K, oh my god! But if it does, that'd be freaking amazing. But yeah, so like I just think that there's a lot of different kinds of level of elements that this game is going to introduce, especially the new ATB system, which is it's not a turn-based system, but rather it's an attacking system that you are that you're in full control with yourself. Not like I was in 15, where it was just one button did everything. But rather that you can actually move around and be more like, interactive on the different kinds of deals. It just looks like it has a little bit of, it has like even reminiscent parts of it, like when you're had some Panzer Dragoon elements in it, which I was like, they're pulling back nonstop on all these different kinds of things. So I am loving this game, like how this game is looking like. Now, contrary to what people may believe of me, because I've never was a big fan of any of the Final Fantasies post 10, which was usually turn-based systems. But the one thing I was always on board with for Squaresoft was to be trying to be innovative, to try to find something that could replace a turn-based system. Not saying the turn-based system was wrong, but just something different. And then there's nothing wrong with trying to be a little different with their RPGs. They've missed and failed, in my opinion, with 12, 13, and 15. But 16 might be the one where they could be like, okay, here you go. This is what we have. This is what we've incorporated. This may be not just for RPG goers. This could be for other people that may like story or may like something different, and just try it out and be like, oh, holy crap, this is really good. So I just think that it's so I mean, I'm really hyped for this game. I really hope that this game's coming out in, I believe, June 22nd, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so I just want to get y'all's opinions, like how, from what y'all saw, what did y'all think about this game?
I mean, this is actually the first time I'm watching it, because I didn't need to see any more. I already know I'm getting this game outright day one. There's no question that I'll have this game. But just looking at this, and again, I think especially the fact that we are now into the next generation of consoles and whatnot, there's no excuse, I think, for games not to at least be 60 frames per second, and really, starting to utilize the stuff that the next generation, or at least that they're saying these next gen consoles can do. There's not a lot of games that are really pushing these limits, and I think this game looks absolutely gorgeous. I've always been a fan of the Final Fantasies, although for me, and I didn't have a problem with Final Fantasy 15. Before Final Fantasy 15, the last one I had played was Final Fantasy 7, and I had a terrible experience because I never actually finished it. Yeah, because my brother wiped my save.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's the telltale story of the brother wiping his save file.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that story. I've told it like a billion times. Yeah, so before then, so like I actually enjoyed the combat of 15. Like I thought, for me, it was real fluid, and it was a nice change. But I understand too where, I mean, I guess for nostalgic purposes, and there are times where, a turn-based, those types of RPGs and stuff like that, those work. But I also like the fact that they're trying to break away and, like Davis was saying, do something different than they had done before, especially when you're talking about a series that has gone back to years and years, to be able to then evolve it and grow it as the technology, as the times are evolving. I think it's smart. It keeps it relevant, and then it also is a way to bring people then into their universe and be like, oh, let me go check out all the other ones. We've got so many options and so many different ways that we can go back and play remasters and things now. I think it also could be a good starting point and bring in new fans and new people. Look at it. That's a chocobo right there. The chocobo's fine. Yo, so that's even more reason. That is even more reason. Like, I am here for this. I am pumped for this. I am day one going to be playing this. Whether I stream it or not, I don't know. I tend to enjoy games like this more playing offline and just really being able to immerse myself into the story, into the characters. I know it wouldn't happen on stream, so most likely I'll play this off stream.
Right.
I feel you with the sentiment of playing it off stream. Usually if I go in with like a story-based game that I really have to pay attention to, I put like, this is going to be a quiet, cozy stream. And like, I'll wave hi and like, I'll type to people and like, I'll talk when like the story isn't, like the narrator isn't going. I've never been into Final Fantasy. Like you guys, I got a PlayStation 2 and my games were picked for me. I didn't really get a choice. And what I had, everyone kind of pitched in and got me like 1 or 2 games from the family. That was my big Christmas gift. So I got the PlayStation, and then, my aunts and uncles and my grandma, they all got me a game. They all picked random games, and they were all very indie developer kind of games. And like, definitely not Final Fantasy. I like story games. Like I remember my big game when I was a kid was what's the gorilla?
Donkey Kong?
No.
Oh.
It he fights Godzilla.
Godzilla.
I can't think of his name.
Oh, King Kong.
King Kong. I played that like there was no tomorrow. And then I found cheat codes for it. I was like, well, I beat it 4 or 5 times by myself. Let me try with different cheat codes. And then I went through and tried to play it with all the different cheat codes. That was like my big game. And then, I graduated high school early and started college early. So I didn't really get to play games. Final Fantasy, it's beautiful. It looks great. The music sounds lovely. I don't know if it's necessarily my cup of tea. I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to watch a little bit more and see, because like
That's
my
fine.
question is, do I have to play previous Final Fantasies to play this
Nope.
one and like figure it
Never
out?
do.
Okay.
Never do. They're all each Final Fantasy is different. Now the only time that
Okay.
you ever do is if there's a tag. Like Final Fantasy 10 has one that's Final Fantasy 10, and then there's 10-2, and then
Right.
there's
Yeah.
13-2, and Lightning
Okay.
Returns is one. And
Okay.
they all are in their own separate world, so you do not need to play the other ones. I am just insane and wanting to beat every one of them.
I feel you.
That's what it is. Love Me said earlier that Final Fantasy 14 has the best community of any other games, which is very true. I'm sorry, not Love Me, but that was Turducken. And Love Me, Feed Me on Twitch says that I've recently gotten into Final Fantasy 14. I must say it. I'm very much in love with and now have happily moved from WoW to Final Fantasy 14, which is great because 14 has one of the best story driven things in my opinion. Like it really,
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it very drives this story really, really well, and then the community is very good, and it's just a fun game, dude. Like I would urge to play, but the person who revitalized, because 14 was not that good before. The person that revitalized 14 is the guy who made 16. He's the guy who they gave him the deal to make 16. His name is Yoshi P, and
Quick
that
question.
dude is doing all of that. So that's what makes it even better.
Completely new in the franchise, or is this a
Yes.
reboot of it?
Completely new.
So this is
This is
got it,
completely
got it.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ground up in the eyes from the guy who saved 14 essentially, which I think is very, very, very cool. So but yeah, I mean the thing is like I just tried not to curb my expectations, because 15 is a beautiful looking game too. It wasn't when you're showing the previews and stuff when it first initially came out, you're like, oh, okay, it's just a bunch of dude bros in a car and you're driving all over the place inside the deal and stuff. It's like, okay, cool, yeah. But then eventually you're just like, when I kind of played a little bit of it, I was like, this is fun, but it's like this feels too easy, because of the one button. Like I said, the one button. There was legitimately one button to do everything. And you didn't control any of your characters and stuff. What I love is that this guy, I think that Yoshi P is doing a lot of different kinds of things, especially the fact that there you do have assist characters, like you have a wolf, and you also have characters that temporarily join your deal, but this kind of stuff isn't something that you usually see in a Final Fantasy. You're used to having a group of people that you tag along, and then you either that you controlled or they followed you and stuff, but it's really a one-man story, which is very
interesting.
That is very interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was like, wow, they're going in a completely different direction. Like he decided to open up this door that I don't think that I would have ever thought that they would have ever done in this game series. So that's why I'm like, I'm really hoping this game is as good as it looks and as good as what they were describing it. So yeah.
I think it would be. And Lex, I think you really would enjoy a game like this. I know looking at the combat, it could seem a little overwhelming, but they walk you through how to, you know what I mean? Like by the time you get to stuff like this, you will be very comfortable with the controls. Okay. So it's not as, but the stories that they tell, I think you would really enjoy.
You're probably right. This might have to be a game that's on. And like I said, I don't know much about Final Fantasy. The only thing I know is what I got from Monster Hunter and from Kingdom Hearts. So I know certain characters and I know a little bit about their storylines, but nothing too intense.
See,
it is beautiful.
Yeah, Lex is like I'm saying, like Lex is the perfect person for this kind of game. Like, you know, being introduced to a Final Fantasy that's never played a Final Fantasy before, and just trying it out and see, and then you're like, wow, this game is like great. Because I mean, if this game is as good as I think it's going to be, then you may want to try the next one out and be like, you know, and see, it might open a new door. Who knows, you know? So so yeah, so I mean that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking so hopefully I am hyped. I can't wait for this to come out. Unfortunately, June is a packed month because Street Fighter's coming out then too, and then I got to get ready for Evo, but I don't care. Final Fantasy 16. You know, it's actually kind of funny though too when you said about streaming, because I've been streaming every other Final Fantasy, but I've been telling people I don't think I want to stream this immediately. I want to play this myself because like exactly for the reasons that you said. And then it's like, you know what, it's nice to stream it, but at the same time it's even nicer when you can just relax on the couch on a big screen TV and then just be like, you know, just not you
don't even not saying anything and you're just in the story.
Exactly, just getting into it, just being in dive right in. So yeah, so I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, so that was a good one. That was definitely a good one. All right, Lex.
Hello.
What's your topic? Yes, it is.
So, if you guys have followed American McGee's Alice for as long as I have, you know that we were waiting for the third installment, which was called Asylum. Now, they've done a lot of things with Patreon. To try to get basically, you know, all of the things they needed together to present their story to EA because they do hold the IP for it. The problem is they are not willing to sell the IP. They want to hold on to it. But we officially got a no from EA. And I'm so saddened to hear that we are not going to get another American McGee Asylum. And here's more blood in the water is the creator of American McGee. He posted on Patreon the end of the adventure, and I would like to read it to you all. Over the past 4 years, your support has made it possible, a constant stream of creative output by a team of artists, writers, designers, modelers, and producers. The output resulted in the Alice Asylum Design Bible, a 414-page PDF containing the complete vision of a third chapter in Alice's video game adventures. Shortly after the completion of the Design Bible, I resumed talks with Electronic Arts, EA, regarding our efforts to get a new game made. They were presented with the Design Bible and a production plan produced in collaboration with Virtuos Games, outlining the schedule, budgeting, team, and design for the new game's production. After several weeks of review, EA has come back with a response regarding funding and/or licensing for Alice Asylum. On the question of funding, they have ultimately decided to pass on the project based on an internal analysis of the IP, marketing conditions, and details of the production proposal. On the question of licensing, they replied that Alice is an important part of EA's overall game catalog. Please remember that. They've stated it is an important part of EA's overall game catalog, and selling or licensing isn't something they are prepared to do. At this point, we have exhausted every option for getting a new Alice game made. With those answers from EA, there is no other way forward with this project. As such, we will be hibernating this Patreon page and related pre-production activities. The content will remain in place, but will no longer present options for funding Alice Asylum. Efforts via this or any other platform. Alice Asylum is at an end, and this announcement is certain to draw significant attention. I would like to focus some visibility on the amazing artist designers who funded their Patreon during this project. For my part, I have also reached an endpoint with Alice and with game production in general. I want to cry. This makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I have no other ideas or energy left to apply toward getting a new Alice game made, nor do I have any interest in pursuing a new game ideas within the context of the current environment for game development. This brings us full circle to the statement I made years ago, which initiated EA reaching out to me to ask if I wanted to explore making a new Alice game. They asked him. I have no control over the Alice IP and no ability to make a new game happen. That control and ability rests entirely with EA. If someone does manage to convince them to make Asylum, I would like to make it clear that from this point forward, I have no desire to be involved with that or any other Alice-related development. My involvement with Alice is at an end. Going forward, I will focus on family and business. Lastly, I want to give an exhausted, bittersweet thank you to our insane children, that's us, the fans, Patreon supporters. I know this is not the outcome we hoped for, and I feel a mix of emotions that leaves me sick at the idea of all the money, hope, ideas, and love you've all poured into this effort over the years. We know going into this adventure that failure was a possibility, but we wanted to believe in possible things. An Alice quote. And we had fun doing that up to the moment when reality forced itself into our wonderland. It's often said that when one door closes, another opens. Trite but true. And I hope that for all of you, this closure will bring life to other adventures and dreams. American McGee. I'm so mad. I'm so infuriated. EA came to him asking if he would be interested in making another game. And they said, come up with the stuff, present it to us, and we'll discuss it. Making it seem as though they were going to give this the green light. What do they mean? The marketing and I'm so frustrated. You guys go ahead.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me that so like when did they come to him and ask about this? Like was this a while ago or was this something that was recent? Well, I mean, it had to have been a bit if they were able to make some time to
a 414 page
414 pages.
Yeah,
that's
they wanted
insane.
it to be like, as far as I remember, so when the Patreon started, if I'm not mistaken, they basically EA had come to him and they were like, we want you to do a presentation of what you want the third Alice to be. We need it to be comprehensive, this, that, and the other. This is what we're looking for. If you can bring that to us, then we'll talk about funding, right? They brought this to him. He wasn't the one that came up with Alice Asylum. He had ideas about it, but he, as far as I know, hadn't like actually set out that, you know, this is going to be the storyline. This is where we go from here, A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And then to hear that the quote unquote market isn't there right now, I wholeheartedly disagree. There's been so much love poured into that Patreon to help fund this. I 100% disagree. There are people that I know that don't play horror games that play out like American McGee Alice, and they love it. And I find it, man, it's just like
I would just
smack
back
in
it
the
up
face.
here. I will say this though, because this is what I mean. First off, I am like American McGee. I mean, essentially, it just sounds like that. What you just typed in, or what you just read on this Patreon, that whatever, like EA broke him. Essentially, I mean that's what they did.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
They made him
they
made him 100% in like saying, "I'm done. I don't want to deal with the gaming industry at all anymore." And deals like that, which is like unbelievably sad. Like that is heartbreaking because like you know this man has basically gone through had a passion to push more for American McGee, and yet they still. Then what's even worse is that they kind of dangled a carrot in front of him, saying, "Hey, we might have an interest of you we might have interest in making this game, and but give us a thing." So you do the homework and you go above and beyond, because I don't think that usually a pitch and stuff for a game like that has a 414 game Bible showing like, you know, looks, like level design, all these different kinds of deals from the outside like outside sources coming in together, and then using the community of the for that game to help for all of this. just to come back and just saying, nah, we're not interested because we don't think it's in the right climate right now. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me towards
and then
that?
they didn't even say, you know what, we'll sell you the IP. You look like you've got it in control. We'll sell you the IP, and maybe we can make a contract that it will be on EA's website or whatever, right? Like, they didn't even say, like, we'll sell you the IP, and then you can figure out your funding on your end, and good luck to you. It's a part of their library. Okay, great. Where's the first game? Because it's not in your library. It's not in your library. The second one is. The first one isn't.
What?
Where is it?
Let me ask. Sorry, what is the history behind that and the creation of this?
Sure.
Did they create this, or American McGee created this, or
McGee created it, but EA owns the licensing for the IP.
Like
did he work for them, or how did they get the license?
What he ended up doing, what happened was when American McGee came out, when the first American McGee came out, he pitched the idea. He just pitched the idea of his world to be in a game format. The EA said, "I like the idea. We'll make the game with your art and stuff like that, but we have the rights to all of any American McGee games themselves, because they're the ones that are doing the work to make his vision into the deal." Exactly. So that's why he doesn't have the rights to the game itself. He may have a royalty. Does he get? I really hope he has royalties.
I assume he has some sort of royalty.
He's got it. Yeah.
Well,
this is heartbreaking to see in so many different ways, especially when you know somebody has poured this is their baby. You know what I mean? This is their thing. And then EA to go, hey, put together this. I've been in situations where a client or a potential client for something, once you put in all this crazy work, and then they come back and say, nah, we're going to go ahead and not do that. Not only now have you put in a bunch of time for this stuff that went nowhere, but now they also have this stuff. So if they were to move forward, they've got all this ideas and all this stuff that you had. They've got your stuff.
That's what
so it's just like, I totally understand them being like, you know what, dude, like I'm stepping back. I'm out. Like, it's a wrap.
And the company like EA, I $1,000,000. We won't be.
What are they gonna do with the IP, dude?
No. Well, they got an idea now because they got the 414-page book of an encyclopedia, like you're saying. Like, you know what's going to end up happening? Because I mean, and you're telling me that EA, like, to trust EA. It's like, oh no, it's not in the right climate. Then 2 years later, hey, we're making the American McGee, and then he's not in any part of it because of this stuff that's going to be. Then watch it be like a whole new POS kind of deal from Electronic Arts. Who knows?
That sucks.
The kicker is not just a Patreon, but like he also had like this stuffed animal whole page that when you purchase them, they were a little expensive, but when you purchase them, that money went to funding all of this. And the amount of people that have worked on this, and it's a passion project for everybody that's been involved.
Right.
They wanted to see this happen. And the story told is very modernized. So if you're like myself and you've been obsessed with Alice and her adventures, you know, you've read Looking Glass, you've read Wonderland, that's great. This is a modernized version in today's world of what that would look like. And that was what was so cool, because it is more or less like a horror story. Think about it. You're thrown into this land and there are these giant creatures, and you're walking down a path that turns into a checkered board and there's giant chess pieces. Like, that's terrifying when you really think about a little girl experiencing this and then having to fight a Jabberwocky, right? On top of all of that. And you know, if you want a better good look of what American McGee, and you don't want to play the games, the 1985 made for TV movie is fantastic, and it's musical, which the book was. You were supposed to sing song all of the lyrics as you read it. It gives a more in-depth look as to what it's like from a little child's perspective to meet these creatures and to be in this world and to have this huge weight thrown onto her shoulders, right? And so you put that in a modern look, you know, and she's got the Vorpal blade and like all these really cool instruments to help her fight these creatures that are coming after her that are not on the good side, right? And it's a wonderful story. The way that it's told, there's no holes. It's like, what happened here and how did this come to be? No. Everything is this is how it happened. There are no questions asked because you don't need to. They've told you all that you need to know. You've gotten all of the information. They don't give you fluff. And the story is just so well rounded and put together. And even
I
the
would say though
original,
that you would be a little bit that you may be a little bit biased because you are a fan of the game itself.
well,
But I
and
will say,
Alice, my whole room is Alice.
oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
I
you can't
mean,
you got to admit to that.
just a little.
But it's actually kind of funny because Donk actually saying something that's actually kind of interesting to me because he's saying like you have to do also consider that the dude has been a failed game director designer since Alice 2, which I don't know if Alice how bad was Alice 2, but he has bombed repeatedly and been the sole reason for multiple studios shutting down. This was a Hail Mary. I don't think this is fair to make him out to be a hero in this. And I mean, okay,
See, that's interesting. So
that's a
I
good
don't know
count.
other games that he's created. So
Well, no, I think
that
the
perspective,
point.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I will say this
Alice
though.
2 was a hit.
And then I personally think this though in itself. I don't think we're calling him a hero. I just think that in its sense though, like
Right.
he was reached out by EA to pitch a deal. It's not like he is working under EA for this deal. And then he goes above like this level of above and beyond of like because like dude, I've seen video game pitches, but this guy. This dude did a 414 page pitch that probably had like I mean because we saw some of it with the announcement trailers of the of the layouts. He already had like a book like stuff like that. If he was trying if he was the one that was trying to go to EA directly and then him trying to go and try to promote his game to be like, hey, please EA, go buy my game, this is what we have for it. I can understand that, but he didn't. It was the other way around, right?
Right.
At least as far as I'm understanding.
That's as
right?
far as I understand it too. And don't
Yeah.
please don't misunderstand. Like he said, I'm not trying to make him out to be this like perfect person. I don't know what he has done outside of Alice. I'm just saying in this situation, they dangled a carrot, he took a bite, and they pulled it back. And that's what sucks. And there was so much put into it. And again, like I'm saying, I don't know this person personally. I can never speak to what they are like in their day-to-day job and what they do otherwise. I'm just saying what I know in this situation. And I think it was kind of messed up of EA.
I do see your point, though, Donk. Yeah, I think we definitely see your point on that, Donk. I definitely agree. I definitely semi-agree with. I don't know the full deal of it myself, with it, but I'm just saying that if you're going to do all of this work, when the big company is like saying, "Hey, we're interested in this. Can you give us a good? Can you give us a thing?" And you're going to work your ass off on this. I mean, because clearly he asked other people, especially patrons, to be a part of it to get it going, and it looks like the Bible itself that they made looks really good. For it, just like I'm just saying that like it's a punch in the gut. It's not saying like we should have expected it to pass, but rather, dude, this look like it's a good reality. It's a huge reality check to be like, oh wow, I can't believe we did all that and then we just got nothing out of it.
I think that might also be the thing though too, because like just because someone tells you to pitch something, it's not a guarantee. I feel like I've been in that situation where it's like, oh, this person asked, put together this thing, I'm gonna get the gig, and then I don't get the gig. It's like, well, why'd you even do that? And really, they just needed other examples just to put against something that they had already made a decision before, So it's like I understand that business wise, it just and like I'm very far detached from this. I am not familiar with the Alice's. I've heard of American McGee.
Yeah, you watched me play it.
Yeah, no, I've definitely watched you play it, and I've heard that name before. I'm not even sure. Is American McGee a person?
That's
or
a person.
A thing?
That's his name. So the first one was American McGee Alice. Yep.
Yeah, dude. I was just like, I'm not even sure if this is the person's name.
Quick question. If American McGee was a thing, what would that thing be to you?
Ooh, great question.
yeah, exactly.
No, and Donk, I totally understand what you're saying. I'll read what Donk said. I don't know him either. I'm sure he's a nice dude and he's passionate. My point is, if I blinked the bed for over a decade, if I pooed the bed for over a decade, I think it is possible that there is trust issues, whether he's the right guy. I get it. I totally understand. But he's also not the only one in on this project. There was another studio. So I think, master control, he had already put into place all of the bricks. Also, if EA came to me privately to pitch a game, I wouldn't think a public Patreon would be the move for building a design Bible. Smitty is American McGee. I concur.
You know what? I'd rather, you know what? If you want to make it a passion project on the, I'd rather do a Patreon over a Kickstarter. Because can you imagine if he
100%.
did a Kickstarter for this? Oh
Yeah,
my
no.
God. Yeah, I'd be.
that would have been bad.
I would have been on his ass on that at that point. I would have been like, "Are you kidding me?"
That's probably why, because nothing was guaranteed.
Right.
People would have been super pissed off.
Oh
Well,
my
and I
God.
think too, with the Patreon, depending on how much you subscribed, you also got like tangible things like mailed to you. So people knew what they were getting into with the Patreon, and I agree. Patreon versus Kickstarter, much better idea. But a lot of
American
people, I
McGee.
feel like, when EA dangled the carrot, he had brought it up, EA is thinking about it, and people went crazy over the idea, and they were like, we'll support you. So he created the Patreon, and that's how we got to where we are today.
My guess is that he was trying to leverage that to EA to say, hey, look at all the support we've already gotten. This is the right move. And they were like, no.
Well, and I can tell you too, like from how much I've played the first one, I got it to work on my PC, and I played the second one. And anytime I play it and people come in, they're like, there's an Alice game? I'm like, yeah. And they see me play it, then they're like, oh, I'm going to have to buy this. And then I keep seeing more and more people who have come into my chat, who are also my Steam friends, purchasing the game to then play it. Or it's not through Steam, it's through EA. My friend list, it shows, oh, so-and-so purchased it, so-and-so is playing the game. And that makes me happy because it shows, that there's passion out there for us little readers from when we were kids. But yeah, I just, made me sad. I was really excited for Alice Asylum, and I'm sad to hear that, it broke him essentially, that he doesn't want to be involved if one is made. So I really hope EA doesn't get scummy and then, go forward with his ideas.
I think Donk made a good point though. Like, there's clearly a reason they didn't go with him. And if he has a track record of not being successful, they're like, yeah, the IP we own, you just gave us a roadmap. It was a pleasure working with you, Mr. McGee.
Right.
But
we want to go with
services
someone
are
else.
no longer needed.
Oh,
Exactly.
God.
There absolutely will be a third one.
Yeah. It's probably crazy in the near future. Who knows? We'll see. But I would like
Lex
to close.
Is gonna get it.
Yeah. Well, Lex, you're gonna have to get it to check it out to see what they did, how perverse that they made that series.
I've
the
read
series
the
that you
Bible.
loved.
I would know. Yeah,
you would have to. But I will say this though, in closing though, I just like to think that when American McGee came and did all of that, I just imagine the president of EA being Smitty. Like it looks like exactly like Smitty. Just comes up, just says, "We're good." Nah. And then it's done.
Oh, no.
Sleeves. Interview over at that point, or the whole thing over.
Oh,
That's
it.
Nope.
That's
good.
a wrap.
All right, Smitty.
Yeah.
You close this off,
you
buddy.
knew we were gonna have to talk about it. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it by now, but Redfall, Arcane. It has just been announced that the console versions, the next-gen console versions, will be coming out at 30 FPS.
Next
no
gen?
60 FPS. Yes. So yeah, this is so they touted that this game was gonna be coming out at 60 FPS. This is something specifically that they said. We know that they had the delay as well. Okay, no problem. Why are they shipping a game that's not complete? Why are you telling me? And again, I'm not a graphic snob. In the least. This is a first-person shooter, though, so, frames matter. But again, maybe they're able to make it smooth. My biggest thing is, number one, really? Microsoft? This scares me a little bit. Because
I was going to say that Bethesda, but Bethesda is Microsoft. But no, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, no, but yeah, exactly. Because, again, if they're doing shenanigans like this, who knows what the heck they're going to do with Starfield. And I'm telling you right now, if Bethesda does not knock Starfield out the park, I think they are going to do. I think they will be suffering.
I do not trust. I've already told you I do not trust Bethesda, man. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah. But how does Microsoft allow this game to be shipped out at 30 frames per second? And then that's like sending out a partial game and being like, yo, we'll get you to rest later. And I think this is even more indicative of kind of this industry standard that somehow we've allowed, where people are making you pay these prices, these full game prices for not full games. This is crazy to me. Again, I'm sure it's going to work fine at 30 frames or whatever, but they should be embarrassed. This is, I don't even know how you're on next gen. We've been on next gen consoles for years now, and you're telling me you can only get 30 frames out the day one, out the gate from this game? That's ridiculous.
First off,
absolutely ridiculous.
First off, I was wondering, now, did they say, okay, well, one question. It's coming out on PC too, right?
It is going to be on PC. Yeah. I don't believe
is PC running
that
30 or 60?
I think that runs at 60. I think this is specifically the consoles.
But there's crossplay.
Yes.
But there's crossplay, right? PC to Xbox and stuff?
Or single player.
Multiplayer?
I believe
yes,
so.
I believe so.
Okay, so like, but you're basically going to be at a disadvantage if you're playing on console, because
yes,
yeah, because 30 frames, yeah. I mean, there's no sugarcoating that at that point. That's what it sounds like, right? Okay,
Lex, can you shoot this guy for me? Gotcha. Pew, pew.
Yeah, on the right. That's weird.
On the right, they just do call outs.
Yeah. Oh, that's on the right. But even with that though, too, you're still not getting enough. I mean, like,
right, it's still going to be a delay.
Oh my God. Okay, so like, well,
why?
Are they planning on? Did they say anything? Like, are they is it going to be a lock 30, or are they planning on trying to upgrade it?
They're gonna
to go.
They're 60? Gonna bring in 60 later. When that is, I don't know. So what was the delay for?
Yeah, what was the delay for?
Exactly. I have no idea.
Oh
you would think this kind of stuff would have been resolved earlier on, into I just don't
that doesn't
it blows
make any
me
sense.
away. It doesn't make sense. It blows me away. This thing is basically, it's on Xbox and PC exclusively. So they didn't even have to make other versions for PS5, for like Switch or anything like that. It's all within the same thing. And like, I think this also kind of shows how much Microsoft doesn't really care about the games that are coming out in terms of this. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how you allow this to ship out like this. You're telling me, go get an Xbox Series X next generation, but this next generation game can only out the gate.
Oh, wait, I have a kicker for you. The Redfall game was delayed because, and I quote, Phil Spencer, delayed because he has experienced shipping games too early, quote unquote.
Oh my God.
The decision to give the team the time to build the game that they feel they should be building is just the right thing to do. But now you're shipping us a game that ain't ready. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Got it.
I love this. The Donk says, though, don't worry, 60 frames per second in-app purchase. That's pretty much what. Okay, so this is what it is. Like, remember, for the longest time, because you've been saying it for a long time about like, oh, it's a good thing that Microsoft has purchased these companies.
I have.
It's going to be moving up. They're going to change their demeanors and stuff. And then I've said for the longest time, this is Bethesda. I'll see it till I freaking believe it. And then and sure enough, this is one of the stuff. Like right now, it's like they're apps. Like I've seen Redfall gameplay. I have seen all this different kinds of stuff, and I'm not putting any kind of push towards the developer itself, because I know developing a game is hard and it's tough. But to say that you're going to be willing to release this game at 30 frames, you know what? If this is the case, I would do it. If you want to release the game. Just don't release it on console. Release it on PC. If it's at 60 frames per second, that's all, because like now you're at a clear disadvantage on PC players to console players at that point. And then you fix whatever you needed to fix on the PC to let it run to play the way it plays, and then let freaking console, and then figure it out later on with console, delay it or whatever you needed to do, because like right now, like a game like that, and then if a person's playing it on an Xbox 360 on Xbox Series X or Series S or whatever, they're going to be at a clear disadvantage. And that's so BS. That is such a bullcrap that I just cannot even understand why they would just release something that's not finished. But then again, hey, they did it already. You remember Halo? The new Halo? look beautiful as hell. Oh, hey, we're going to release the multiplayer absolutely free in December. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, story mode is what story mode. We're going to release story mode in spring of the next year. Release spring the next year. Oh, did you want to play co-op? You mean the co-op play of Halo that's been since the first Halo? Oh, right. No. We don't have that day one on the spring version of this. But if you delay, we're going to release that later on in the deal like that. Who releases games like that? It's like you need to like literally games have a one-time chance to be like, here, the first impression needs to make you interested in this game. Who talks about Halo now? Who talks about Halo or any of this
Not
crap
me.
right now? Yeah, no one does because of this stuff. Stuff. So it's infuriating when they release these games. They're like, oh, okay, we need to release it because we need to show that we have something out. If you're having troubles with freaking Redfall, out of all the different kinds of games and stuff, and this is not even an if, but Starfield better be out of the park, because at that point, you're going to be dead. Like, Starfield better be the game that's going to be like, we're going to have to get this game. This is a must get, because this is a must get to get on the system, to get on the PC or whatever. Because right now, this is freaking unacceptable. I am so sorry. Yeah.
No, when I saw this, it made my ass itch. Like, are you kidding? This is what I'm sorry. You delayed. Yeah, you never heard that? When you get mad, it makes your ass itch.
I've never heard that.
It's a southern thing.
Okay, continue.
It made me so furious. Like, are you kidding me? So first off, I was excited for this game. I make a list every year of what the games that I potentially want to purchase that are big purchases, right? So that I can also deduct it on my taxes and things like that. Because if I do purchase it, $60 for a game is expensive, man. It better play the way it's supposed to play. Mm-hmm. And we're in a climate now. You already delayed it. Great. Okay. We're happy to wait for it. But now you're going to send out a game that it's not done? I'm sorry. Yeah. What?
Yeah, here's a question though.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and here's a question, because I mean, we're all like veteran gamers at this point. I know, and also folks who are listening on stream are veteran gamers. But here's a question for you: what makes you more angrier? I mean, I would love to get y'all's own personal opinions on this. Sure. What makes you more angrier: a delayed game or a game or an incomplete game?
Incomplete game.
Incomplete.
Okay. I'd rather wait.
Okay, so even though as much as it sucked, as much as it sucks for it to be delayed, when the game comes out and then it has everything, for me personally, I'm fine. I'll be like, okay, here you go. The reason why we were so pissed about Cyberpunk 2077 when it came out, like, we were perfectly fine of the 4 delays that happened and then stuff like that until it came out. And then it was like, wow, this is what we got out of it. And then they weren't done on of it. Like, if it was fully completed, I bet you we wouldn't be bitching about it as much as we did.
Right. But, no, I agree. And this is a continuing issue. I mean, NT brought it up, that there are a lot of games that are coming out that are not finished. And you brought up Halo. There's so many other games too. And Dunk said, look at ID, Santa Monica, Playground, etc. It's just lazy studios. Bethesda is hot garbage. And I used to love Bethesda Studios, and they have, smacked us as fans in the face over and over. I'm not a fan.
I've been calling Bethesda out. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I've been calling Bethesda out since freaking Skyrim. Because seriously, Skyrim, even as great as the game is, it's the same game. It's the same game as Morrowind, as all these other ones that happened in the past and towards it. Everything has been the same. They haven't even changed anything towards it. That's why I feel that's what Starfield is just as going to be in space. That's why that's my mentality of it. So we'll definitely see, but. Oh, and so I'm sorry to cut you off on that, but I'm just like, you know what? Bethesda's always been a little bit overrated at that point with Fallout. Because especially when Fallout 76 came out. Oh my god! But I don't know. Actually, come to think of it, Fallout 76 was the last game they've released, right? Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd have to Google.
I feel like there might have been something else. I know Arcane did Deathloop. So this is another disappointing thing to see in terms of that, because I really enjoyed Deathloop. So I was like, all right, let's see what they got for this. Yeah. And so it's disappointing just to see that. This is just all around disappointing in terms of what the expectations should be in terms of folks' next generation console. The console owners are definitely getting screwed in these respects in terms of that. So I don't know what that's all about.
And can confirm Fallout 76 was the last game. Starfield 2023 will be next. Deathloop is technically under their belt, but like we said, it's not technically
it's like it's not a studio already. Studio, right? Okay. Okay. So it's not really Bethesda, but it's Bethesda. Like, kind of, okay, that makes sense. I know what you mean. Okay, what you mean by that. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, for the most part, though, it is like, they need a banger. Like what Smitty has always been saying for several months now, they need a banger. Redfall is, I just hope it's not a sign of what we're going to be seeing in the future of a big AAA title that they've been working on for 7 years. For 7 years. So I think that like we'll just have to sit down and wait and see. But good God, dude, are you kidding me?
Again, to studios, don't do that to us. Just make us wait a little longer. Get everything in order before you throw it out into the universe. Make sure it works before you do it, and give us the game that we deserve. I mean, you put that much effort into it, we can wait a little longer. It's not that big of a deal. You know, we're adults at this point. We can wait.
Are you well, I mean, like, especially like if you're wanting to release it, then just put it on the PC. Just say it's a PC release, the exclusive. Because I mean, like, you have the rights for PC and for your system. I mean, like, you can do whatever the hell you're wanting to do with it.
The other thing that we haven't even talked about, the other thing that we haven't even discussed is their release date. The most ridiculous release date. It comes out, I think, May 2nd or May 5th, right in between Tears of the Kingdom and we got Last Survivor. That's around that. We're at a point where there's too many good games. If your game isn't banging out the gate, people are gonna walk away. There's too much good stuff out there to do that. I think this is a terrible move. I think they just take the delay, find a different window that makes more sense for this game to come out in. It just doesn't make sense. None of it does. And this is just disappointing to see. Not so much, this is kind of already expected from Bethesda in terms of me, but from Microsoft and how I thought they were really going to check down on Bethesda. This makes me worried about Starfield.
Yeah. No, we talked about it too. Like, is Microsoft going to put Bethesda in check? And now this is a great eye opener.
Oh man. Well, anyways, that's great. Man, that was good. Folks, thank you for listening to episode number 170 of the CFG Game Cast. Thank you for being a part of the conversation as always. We will be back again next Sunday with some brand new topics that we'd love to share with you. But in the meantime, definitely check out our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, to check out all the latest reviews and episodes and stuff like that of CFG Game Cast and pop culture gems. So once again, this is Davis, Lex, and Smitty signing off. Y'all, take it easy.
Bye.